Yo, and it's your boy, Joe Martini, back again with another boxing preview, prediction, opinion of a championship fight coming up this week. I want to give our shout-outs to two people this week. I want to give a shout-out to Oscar Valdez, one of the most humblest boxers I've ever met in Vegas a couple of years ago. Good job on that comeback fight after a broken jaw, after being out for over a year. And shout-out to the guy that he fought. Carmine Tomasin, the Italian dude that proposed to his fiance in the ring, even after a loss, she said, yes, you won, bro. In my record book, you won that night. Hugo Ruiz, who is this guy? A lot of people don't know who he is, but he is known internationally. He's fought in Japan. He's fought in Mexico, most of his fights. And this is a banger, man. This is a guy who's 32 years old. He fights out of Glendale, California. He's a tall boxer at 5'9.5". He's got a 70.5-inch reach, but Gervonta Davis has fought guys with a reach of 71, 72, and guys that are 5'10 or taller. So this is nothing new for Gervonta. What's going to be different here is I feel like when I look at Gervonta's record, this is the second best fighter he's ever fought in his life. So this guy's going to bring it, and this is a banger. It's going to be an exciting, entertaining fight. This is like the fight that you're looking at a fighter in Ruiz who's got 77% knockout rate. I mean, this guy, 43 fights, 33 knockouts. Really, guys, this guy had a 22-fight win streak, okay, until he was stopped in Japan. His first fight outside of Mexico was in Japan, and it was a controversial loss, which I felt, if you see that fight against Komeda, that's the one that took his championship belt away when he defended it 4 times in a row, and he actually won that fight. I don't know how the judges, and that's the ugly side of boxing, when judges award the wrong fighter with the win. So I like this guy. I think he's gonna bring it. I think this is the second best fighter Gervonta has ever faced. I like Gervonta. Gervonta, if he can stay outside of trouble, outside the ring, he's gonna be great. He's gonna be the next great thing, because I don't feel there's nobody in this weight class that can beat him. He can unify all the titles in this weight class, but where the money's at is he goes to lightweight. And a lot of people say, well, he hasn't really fought anybody, but he just beat an undefeated Pedraza. He's about to take on a dangerous Mexican fighter. Remember, this guy's 24 years old. So he's coming into his own. Now he's coming into his own. He's going to get the big fights. I like Davis a lot. Even though he has fought 3 former world champions, this is where he's going to elevate the game. This is where he begins his elevation, and I can see it. I smell it. I smell great things.
Who do you think, man, in reference to basically these two fighters matching up, Ruiz being a late replacement, what are you looking at in reference to being the key indicators of decisive fashion in this fight?
Fitz, I see an exciting, action-packed fight, but I don't like what I've seen from Ruiz in his last 3 fights. Remember, this is a guy that was out of boxing for almost a couple of years, and he's had 3 fights. Now, before he left boxing, he was known as a knockout artist. In his last 3 fights, he's only had 1 knockout. And it was the last 3 fights he's had has been against guys that are not even ranked in the top 100. So he's 3-0 in his comeback after being outside the ring for a couple of years. But the guy has faced bums, and he hasn't knocked them out like he used to when he was younger. Is it because he's becoming a better technician in the ring, or is it because he just doesn't have it in him anymore? I don't know.
Listen,
this is soon to be seen.
Ruiz, between me and my man Martini, I think we need to take a shot, man, because at the end of the day, he's one of those guys that's an underdog, and, we've all been underdogs in life, man. At the end of the day, it's not about the size of the dog, it's about the dog that's in that size. So in reference to Ruiz, man, we're gonna do this for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're gonna take
a little something right quick.
And while we're pouring these shots, if there's a fan out there, we got any fans out there that want to come and chime in and let us know how they feel? Where we at? Oh, we got a fan.
Hold on. I know I'm back from Those Guys podcast. It's the Ches. What up, Martini?
There
what up,
he is, baby.
What's up, boy? My thing is, and I'm just gonna be quick and brief, I'm gonna put my money on Gervonta. I think I watched it. My first fight seeing him was with Fonseca, and he basically rocked Fonseca in that whole fight.
Yeah, that was
a good match. Even though the main card was kind of okay, but he to me he was the highlight of that night. I couldn't stop thinking about him. I said, you know what, this kid is gonna be great. The only thing I'm afraid of is that he's gonna take that Adrian Broner route.
I don't think so. Keep in mind, and I'm going to cut you right here, fan. We love you. my boy from those guys.
Those guys.
I want to let you know this is Gervonta Davis is not an Adrian Broner. I want to let you know that this is a guy that had 205 amateur wins. Okay, so the guy brings a lot to the table. It's just more. It's more than just flashiness and you know and promotion. This guy is a real deal. He's got real raw talent.
You say he's a cupcake though.
Oh,
first of all, this ain't no cupcake fight. This ain't no cupcake. This is real. This is gonna be a real fight. Well, it's not a cupcake fight. It is gonna be a real fight. I said it's gonna be action packed. But Gervonta is on his way to greatness, baby.
But like I said, my thing is, like a lot of American fighters, they got caught up in the glitz and glamour and forget what the real reason they came into boxing for. Right. With him, I see he has the power, he has the youth,
right.
He can do it.
It's good.
But I just want to make sure that he doesn't mess it up. And that's just my opinion from a fan. Those guys podcast. Keep up with Martini and Fitz.
You want to play?
Fitz Martini, you know it. Boxing channel. Nah, I'm good, man.
So I give you my prediction. I'm going Davis. Mid round knockout, 5th or 6th round. Who you got, Fitz?
Well, I want to go a little bit deep in the analysis, okay?
Okay.
In reference to this fight, like Abner Maris, Julio Diaz is a Mexican-born fighter that lives in California. So will he have the support of the crowd? Hell yeah, he will. You know, this is a guy that basically will come in there as an underdog. You know, he'll be rooted for in reference to everybody at the Dignity Health Sports Park. You know, Gervonta Davis is one of those guys, you know, yes, he's young. You know, he's a powerful guy. But at the same time, he had a weight. He had his weigh-in today. He made weight, but he had to go back after missing weight the first time. This is a guy that's been trained and was eating, you know, French fries and chicken nuggets within his training. This is a guy that hangs out with Adrian Broner, another, you know, protege of Mayweather. However, a guy that doesn't take his career as serious as he can to be as lucrative as he can be and as successful as he can be inside and outside the ring. I'm not giving Gervonta Davis any slack because he's younger and it looks like he's a little bit more mature than Adrian Broner.
Right.
But this is the type of fight that
sneaks
up on you.
It's dangerous.
Because he did not initially set up to fight this guy.
Right.
You know, so essentially what you have is two guys that have an 86% knockout percentage between the both of them. So basically, if you're a gambler, Las Vegas Sportsbook does not see this fight going past the 5th round.
Okay.
I believe Ruiz has a puncher's chance.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, Ruiz, you have a puncher's chance only.
Okay.
You know, you do not have the skills and you do not have the promotional backing to take this fight into the later rounds and win on the card.
I feel the same way. Keep in mind, there's just too many national championships to list for Gervonta Davis. And this isn't being done in Mexico. This is being done in the United States. No knock on Mexican fighting, but to win these Golden Gloves, you got to go through some tough shit here in the States. So it's just too many national titles for me to list for Gervonta Davis. I just don't see how it could happen. Also, keep in mind, Ruiz, at the beginning of his career, he took 10 fights in 1 year. He fought 10 times in 1 year. So this record of 43 fights, you know, that's a lot of bums you fight. And he lost one of them. That was his first defeat in 2007 when he took those 10 fights was his first defeat. So
but you know
you
what?
don't see that.
I gotta stop you there.
That's some hunger.
A future legend, or actually a current legend, by Juan Manuel Marquez also had a couple fights that he lost early in his career, and he's the best in the business.
And that's
the guy that knocked out Manny Pacquiao.
And that's fine.
In his 4th fight.
Right. We're not saying that. We're not. You know, I'm making a comparison between
right, and I'm not saying he's on that
Ruiz,
level
because I know that Ruiz is not a Marquez.
Right. But you can't. You know, take him out of content for what he
has a puncher's chance, like you said.
Right. So in terms of Ruiz, he has to get Davis's attention early. He has to try to stop him as quickly as possible. He has to use his reach and his length to his advantage.
That's true.
He has to set up, you know, basically what he needs to do in reference to having Gervonta Davis kind of reach and lean over, you know, so that he can kind of drop his guard,
which isn't
in reference to basically trying to overcompensate for punches. Ruiz has to take his maturity and his age to his advantage in reference to basically setting up, I would say, straight punches coming over the top. Use his jab, you know, if he does get hurt or rocked, you know, basically staying calm and composing himself in reference to taking advantage of additional opportunities that may come out in the later stages of the fight. If Davis does win, which I believe he does, this will set up better fights for him in the future. Again, I did state that he's going to be, in my opinion, a future pay-per-view star.
I also
he has
that.
Abner Maris coming up. He has a fight with Tevin Farmer, who's been calling him out. He has a fight with possibly Vasily Lomachenko's
been calling him out.
So, you know, we have some additional opportunities that may come up, but he has to take care of his business here, which I believe he will.
All right.
I have him stopping Ruiz in the 6th round.
Okay.
And basically, you know, setting up those fights going forward.
Exactly. And one more thing, guys. You know, like I said, there's guys out there like Haney, Comney, Easter Jr., Garcia, Lomachenko. They want a piece of Davis. And those are big-time fights, and we'd like to see it. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this one.
Well, this is a big fight, and we'll be sure to give you more opportunities to, you know, like us, comment on anything that you would, you know, like, and basically see us basically putting in our work for you guys in the future. And this is going to be our podcast, Fitz and Martini, going forward. So be on behalf of all of us here, this is Fitz.
Yo, your boy Joe Martini once again.
Signing off, man. Take care of yourself.
You want that cupcake? I don't like what I've seen from Ruiz in his last 3 fights. Remember, this is a guy that was out of boxing for almost a couple of years, and he's had 3 fights. Now, before he left boxing, he was known as a knockout artist. In his last 3 fights, he's only had 1 knockout. And it was the last 3 fights he's had has been against guys that are not even ranked in the top 100. So he's 3-0 in his comeback after being outside the ring for a couple of years. But the guy has faced bums, and he hasn't knocked them out like he used to when he was younger. Is it because he's becoming a better technician in the ring, or is it because he just doesn't have it in him anymore? I don't know. There's just too many national championships to list for Gervonta Davis. And this isn't being done in Mexico. This is being done in the United States. No knock on Mexican fighting, but to win these Golden Gloves, you got to go through some tough shit here in the States. So it's just too many national titles for me to list for Gervonta Davis. I just don't see how it could happen. You know, like I said, there's guys out there like Haney, Comney, Easter Jr., Garcia, Lomachenko. They want a piece of Davis. And those are big-time fights, and we'd like to see it. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this one. Well, your boy Joe Martini once again.